الله أكبر الله أكبر
Welcome again to our viewers. We'd like to speak today about the phenomenon of Islamic fundamentalism with our guest, who is Professor Dr. Ahmad from the International Islamic University in Islamabad, Pakistan. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
This concept of fundamentalism in Islam, can you explain to us what it is? Where did it come from? Is it something good? Is it something harmful? What is fundamentalism?
Thank you very much. Historically, it's in 1940s for the first time a European Orientalist used this term fundamentalism for Islam. But the term fundamentalism has no relation with Islam at all. It's essentially a Christian terminology from Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Christianity has certain interpretations and brands. Among those is one which you find in the southern Bible belt in North America.
Mm-hmm.
There you find a group of Christians who take Bible literally, who believe in certain interpretation about modernity,
mm-hmm.
who believe in certain approach towards science and development, and these groups were known as fundamentalists.
Mm-hmm.
They started their preaching from 1920 onwards till they were able to establish their own organizations in Chicago and elsewhere, California particularly. Now, these fundamentalists who took Bible literally are not a majority, they are a minority.
Mm-hmm.
And even in Christianity, they are not very much welcomed, accepted as a group. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, this terminology, which is Christian in origin, mm-hmm. has been imposed on Islam, perhaps due to a very naive understanding mm-hmm. that fundamentalism means observing fundamentals. Mm-hmm. It's not so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even if, for argument's sake, we find that fundamentalism in some dictionaries carries a meaning, observing fundamentals, mm-hmm. that does not justify use for Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Because Islam nowhere said it wants fundamentalism. Second point. Fundamentalism in Christianity, as I said, means literalism. Whatever is said by the Bible mm-hmm. is to be taken as it is. The Quran, for 15 centuries, has been a subject of investigation and research, and hundreds of exegetes of Mufassirin have come up with interpretation of one single ayah mm-hmm. in 20 different manners. Mm. Same has happened with hadith. When the Quran and hadith are interpreted differently, these cannot be called fundamentalists. Thirdly, existence.
In other words, there are no fundamentals to promote.
Yes, you see, Islam has certain fundamental belief,
yes,
but does not have fundamentalism.
Okay.
Every single aspect of Islam, the Quran, the Sunnah, the Sharia, is subject to a rigorous intellectual scrutiny. And since Christian fundamentalism does
Yes.
not accept rationalization, investigation,
Yes.
its application is wrong. You cannot use something which is known for dogmatism
Yeah.
on a structure which is based on rationality.
Okay.
Islamic approach from day one has been of coming up with new solutions. In the Prophet's time, Prophet himself asked one of his companions, if you don't find something in the Quran, how will you judge matters? He said, I will follow your Sunnah. If you don't find something in my Sunnah, what will you do? He said, I will use my reason, ijtihad bil-ra'i. From day one, Islam requires use of reason, intellect,
Okay.
elaboration based on principles. A structure like this cannot be called fundamentalist. Secondly, fundamentalism stands for extremism. Islam calls itself
Yes.
wasat, moderation, middle path. The Quran never said it is extreme. It always said you have to follow the adl, the path of adl, which is of balance, moderation. Thirdly, Islam wants to solve problems of modernity with modern approaches. Therefore, you hear today Sharia should be applied in modern context. Not just what we have by way of the traditional laws, but Sharia principles are to be applied. On all these three counts, you find an ongoing progress, development, rationality, and all three go against the concept of fundamentalism. Therefore, it's a contradiction in terms.
Yes. Yes.
It is not relevant. If there are some Muslims who are not aware of its background and they say we are fundamentalists, then they are wrong. They must do their homework to find out what this term means in history, in human thought, and then apply it. Last thing, if Islam says, when you are asked, who are you? Say, I am Muslim. And that the Quran says, with reference to Ibrahim, with reference to Musa, with reference to Jesus, with reference to Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ, then I have no justification in saying, someone asked me, who are you? I say, I'm fundamentalist. No. If the Quran has said, you call yourself Muslim, which means you accept Allah as authority, and you want to apply your reason for new problems, why in the world I have to say I am fundamentalist? It's completely a confusion which has been imposed intellectually on many Muslims by some Westerners, and some naive Muslims have embraced it and say proudly, well, if it means believing in fundamentals, then we are fundamentalists. Now, I think it's inappropriate to substitute this term with the Quranic term of Islam. I am a Muslim. I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I want to practice Islam as the Quran wants from me. Therefore, I should remain Muslim, not fundamentalist.
The Christian community, through its history, has gone through a period of reform.
Yes.
We can talk about, let's say, starting from the 15th century,
Sure.
the beginning of the Protestant movement and the
Sure.
reform within the Roman Catholic Church
Sure.
itself. It's part of the dynamics of any religion, I'm
Yes.
sure, to have
Yes.
some sort of reform going
Yes.
on.
Yes.
And there are many Muslims today who want to reform their communities, they want to reform the ways that they see themselves with their understanding of the religion. They want to make it work for them. They don't want to be caught in a mentality that has been imposed upon them from the outside, and which they find themselves caught in. With all good intentions, they join a group that is labeled by someone or another as fundamentalists. What can an individual Muslim do who wants to better his situation, who wants to better his Muslim society? Where does he start? If he doesn't join a group with this kind of label, what options does he have?
I think nothing wrong in joining a group, but to put a label on oneself requires a rational process. If there are some people who out of naivety say they are fundamentalists, it's my job to share with them through interaction, through education, exchange of views, and educate them and tell them, why do you call something with a conspicuous name and then define that conspicuous name as something good? When you have already a name given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why do you have to impose on yourself a mask and then say, no, this mask makes no difference, I'm anyhow a Muslim? For what reason? Now, you mentioned about Renaissance, Reformation, and the reinterpretation of religion. I think there are three fundamentals that provide the basis for it. First, the desire for the Europe to develop a humanistic approach against a theological approach.
Okay.
Second,
Yes.
development of a scientific thinking. And thirdly, development of an individualism which led to a secular, liberal, democratic structure.
This is what happened in the West.
Islam has from day one a room for political activity, a room for the individual for self-development, a room for rational approach of humanity, and therefore it does not have to go through that process artificially.
Okay.
However, if some people, for some reason, feel uncomfortable with rationalization, they need to be educated. We do not have to throw the baby with the dirty water,
Yes.
but we have to make sure that people who don't understand should understand. So since Islam has already all these ingredients, it does not have to go through that phase at all. Rather, continue the movement onwards, which was provided temporarily by Renaissance to Western man. Islam does not have to wait for that period. It already has it. It has to take a leap forward and continue its journey into a more sustainable future for humanity.
Thank you very much for our guest, Professor Dr. Anis Ahmad, for this discussion of fundamentalism. Please join us again next time. Bye for now.
طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع. Oh, the white moon rose over us from the valley of Wada, and we owe it to show gratefulness where the call is to Allah. طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع. رسول الله حبيب الله نطيع الله رسول